Welcome to my humble little office. My name is R. Keith Andrews. I am a spiritual guide and paranormal adept. The journey continues today on January 1st, 2022 at approximately 7:32 p.m. PST. Well, let's start with Happy New Year, everybody. At least, I hope it's a Happy New Year. We've gone through a lot in the last couple of years. This is a brand new year. So it is time to really do what we set out to do. Make this a better world for just about everybody. Now, there will be some exceptions. But I noticed something just before doing this recording. Okay, and this is live video, so that means when I get done, I will not be going back to edit anything out of it. But a couple of things happened in the last little while here. This morning, just before doing this, tonight, just before doing this, there is a post. I hope it's accurate. Okay, but there is a post on Facebook that states that San Diego, effective in 2022, has passed a law to donate all of their edible surplus produce, all their edible surplus food, not necessarily produce, edible surplus food, to the food banks and emergency response teams in their area. Frankly, in my opinion, it's a sad thing that it has to be legislated, but I will go with I'll call it a win and say it's happening. Now, if they can do that, then they are doing exactly what I actually asked a little while ago. Okay, and that is for those of you that have a surplus to turn around and help those of you that don't without damaging yourself. Okay. Now, I've worked through a lot of things myself. I'm not perfect by any stretch. But this is 2022. Now, if you like my video, absolutely give us a thumbs up. Please subscribe to the channel and help me spread the word that working together we can make this a better world for almost everyone. But it's going to require your assistance. I can only do so much, and I can only alter the energy in my own home, which I, by the way, am doing. The tools that I offer here are the same tools that I personally live by. They're the same philosophies that I personally live by. There are only 3 laws in the world that I ever pay attention to. But if you look at the laws and compare them to these 3, I do believe you'll find that they all fit inside the 3 laws I find that I follow. Be true to yourself first. Do unto others as you desire them to do unto you. And energy out, energy in. Now, if we all do that with our own home, you'll find that the energy radiates outward and it affects the people that you're dealing with yourself. And this is where your assistance is requested. By taking these philosophies and spreading them to everybody you meet, even if they don't have video. Okay, share it on video, absolutely. But if you're talking to somebody that you don't know if they've got it on video, take these values and share them. Okay, implement them in your own life. Now, I'm not asking for miracles. Well, maybe I am for some people. But Karmic Law 3 says energy out, energy in. If you start treating people the way you desire to be treated, it stacks the deck in your favor of having people treat you better. See what happens when you test out for yourself. See what happens if you just simply smile at people and nod, as compared to making derogatory comments to them. Don't bother testing the derogatory stuff. There's a negative thing, and there's enough negativity going on. We don't require that anymore. It's already been tested. Looking for my coffee here. It's sitting right beside me. Now, I've already worked out. I actually was really happy. I went through my finances yesterday trying to tie things off. Well, I shouldn't say try. I actually tied things together, found out how far down I was, and the nice part about it is, yes, I'm down lower than what I intended. But it was Christmas, so I can comfortably say I went a little overboard on Christmas in spite of not having a lot. Oh well. But when you couple that with the amount of money that I actually sunk into publishing my new book coming out, I can take a look at that and go, okay, yes, I spent money I probably shouldn't have, but like I said, effective today, I've got $2,500 a month to work with. Okay, now anything over that goes into storage, and I'll see what to do with it from there. Okay, it's being put aside because that way I don't overextend, and if I'm making extra money, I can much more effectively plan for my own future, for my own retirement. And one day I'm going to have to. Now, you can rely on, on government plans for when you retire. Problem is, if you're like me, you're part of what was called the baby boomers. Okay. Now, I'm 58 right now, and there are way more people retiring now than are entering the workforce. Okay. Now, I'm suspecting with COVID going the way it was that we may see a jump in the number of kids being born. Okay, but that's just suspicion at this point. I have no stats to work with there. But you take a look at your home. Okay, make certain that you pick one day of the week where everybody in your household sits down at the table and has dinner together. Turn your electronics off. Turn turn your phones, your radios, your TV, turn them all off and get to know the people you're living with, especially if you're related to them. Okay, if they're a chosen family, get to know them. This is how we change the energy in the world, is we start getting to know each other. From what I've seen, the more you know of your neighbors, the more you can get along with them, talk to them, get to understand them, the less likely crime is to happen in your neighborhood. Because people start looking out for each other. When we start taking a look at things like natural disasters, nature, nature as in the elements, the animals, the viruses, none of them care what your pocketbook looks like. None of them check who you're worshiping. None of them check who you're sleeping with. They just come in and they go through your house just like everybody else's. So, it's time, instead of teaching our kids to fear and to be greedy, it's time, instead of teaching your flocks, if you happen to be a religious leader, the head, running a church, running a temple, running a coven, it's time to quit teaching people about fear. Okay, teach people to learn to live in love, in cooperation, in communication. Okay. Now, some of the silliest things I've seen have happened in the name of love. How many people have you ever run into? They end up getting the stuffing beaten out of them, and the person doing the beating says, I love you, I love you. It's, I'm sorry, I don't mean to do this, but you make me do this. I got news for you. There's very few people on this planet that have actual mind control, that can actually control what you're doing. Having spent time as an alcoholic and a drug addict myself, and some people will say, oh, you never were because you quit cold. Just because I quit cold turkey does not, with no withdrawals, does not mean I was not doing. I had if you don't want to call it an addiction, I don't care. I was killing 26 a night and doing a minimum of 6 lines of cocaine when I was younger. Now I don't touch the drugs. And as far as alcohol goes, well, I take a shot. Well, I take a maximum really of about 3 shots in a year. And that's usually that's usually on New Year's Eve. Okay. If you've got a problem saying no to an addiction, be it alcohol, drugs, food, it doesn't matter. There's a saying that goes, everything in moderation. Now, I started this off on a slightly different tack, so I'm going to go back to that. Pardon the jumping around, or don't. I went through all my finances, figured out where I was standing. Now, as soon as I get done this video and get it posted, I'm going to start recalibrating a tracking system so I know exactly where every dollar goes. So I can look at it at a glance and go, okay, this is the amount of money I spent on this on this particular expense. For instance, my utilities, my rent. I'll get it all broken down so it does exactly what it needs to. Okay, so I can glance at my account books and go, this is how much I've spent, and this is what's standing. And for me, that is extremely important. Now, the funny part about it is the backbone of a home is your kitchen. It is the kitchen. It is the living area. Okay. And the reason I call it backbone, that's where you have to be. If you're going to eat, you got to get it cooked. Well, correction. You don't necessarily. You may have a lifestyle that says you don't have to cook what you eat. Maybe you've got a lifestyle like that, and that's fantastic. It doesn't change the fact that we have to get back to building the family unit. Okay, we've got to get back and rebuild that connection. Now, we can carry on in the way our world has been going. You can carry on, with the negativity that's been carrying around for the longest time. But this is January 1st of 2022. It is time to start moving forward. It's time to put that negative behind us. And it is absolutely time to start, well, it's way overdue time, to start maximizing the positive things and minimizing the negative. Absolutely imperative we start down this road. Okay. Now, we can't do anything about the past. It is what it is. But we can change what the future looks like. Now, to this end, it's easiest to track if you've got a quantifiable method, which is why I target the finances, because the backbone of the house, the backbone of the home is the kitchen. But the backbone of your house, what keeps your lights on, what keeps the roof over your head, is your finances. Absolutely. And there's not much you can do to get around that to argue that point. Okay, I mean, you can argue it, be my guest. But get your office straightened out. If you haven't already done so, do so right away and get back on track. Now, I know what I'm doing with my finances. If you don't know how to track finances, absolutely. Okay, talk to somebody that has done it successfully. Okay, talk to somebody if you're striving to do something. Now, I won't say I'm great at the finances side of things yet. By the end of this year, if things go the way I hope they go, I should be in pretty good shape. And to that end, I'm setting myself goals, which I'll work out while I'm going along here. I won't be telling you about them right now because I don't know. But I will be putting goals together for this year, and I'm starting to work on those today. Before the end of this week, I'll have 12 major projects laid out to get finished. Okay, and those are the goals that I will go after. Okay, now I'll get other things done, no question. But get your finances running. If you don't know how to handle them properly, okay, talk to a financial advisor that knows what they're doing. And the easiest way to find out if they know what they're doing is when they start telling you what to do, ask them, are they doing that? Okay. Now, the biggest mistake I personally made was putting I worried more about what other people thought, about how I was doing financially than I did about how I felt I was doing. Fortunately, I do feel I've got my head on straight on that one, which is why I'm turning all of this around now. Now, with that in mind, it's absolutely imperative that it feels right here for you. Okay, you're the one that's got to feel that you're getting ahead. But it is imperative it's not just a feeling. You've got to have quantifiable evidence for yourself so that you can reassure yourself you're on the right track. Otherwise, it qualifies as wishful thinking. And much as I love wishful thinking, it does not necessarily get where you desire it to get. Okay, you can hope that falling down a staircase won't hurt. I can pretty much guarantee that when you fall down a set of stairs, it's going to hurt. If you're a stunt actor, a stuntman, then you know how to fall safely. You know how to fall without hurting yourself too badly. Even they get hurt. Okay. If you're looking at your finances and you know how to handle them, great. You may make miscalculations, but if you know how to handle them, you'll make less miscalculations. This is why I say absolutely focus on working together. The one message I was returned that I was sent back to this world for this lifetime was to simply tell people, working together, we can make this a better world for most people. But it's going to require your assistance because I can only do so much on my own. So yes, I'm absolutely asking you to join me on this journey, to reach out to the people around you. And if you've got something that you can help people with, sometimes, by the way, that is nothing more than a smile, than a positive comment. Sometimes that's all people need. Sometimes it's simply enough, at least at the start, to simply tell somebody they matter. When you're walking by somebody on the street, yeah, they may be homeless because of their own choices. This does not mean they mean any less. Okay, you may not be able to help everybody you meet. Absolutely not. But I like the way that Wayne Gretzky put it. Now, I'm no hockey fan. Okay, and it makes absolutely no sense to me what they did with him. For those of you that are hockey fans, Wayne Gretzky made a comment, at least this is the first place I heard it, where he said, you may miss 100%, you may miss 90% of the shots that you do take, but you will miss 100% of the shots that you don't take. So you may not be able to help everyone you meet, but you will not be able to help anyone if you don't make the effort. Now, I made a very brief comment about I don't agree with what they did. Wayne Gretzky got on into the Hockey Hall of Fame. Okay. Now, I don't know the story behind it, but I caught a blurb that he's been removed from the Hockey Hall of Fame. I don't care what he did. The fact is, he was a good enough hockey player to get there. So why pull him off of the fame, off the Hall of Fame? I mean, think about it. Regardless of what he did he not make that record? Okay, it's like removing the statues that were put up from past events. Tearing statues down does not change the facts that they occurred. Okay, now I'm going to be posting, and I'm going to post it. I've got a picture. I can't show it to you right now, but I've got a picture that is absolutely remarkable on my cell phone. Okay, I took two of them. One of them held, but it's a picture that is absolutely mind-boggling. Okay, and I will be posting it on my Facebook page and a few other places. But the picture is of a die six, a six-sided die, your standard dice. It was rolled just like you do any other dice, but this one stopped, resting on its edge, unsupported. Now, I've got the photograph here, and the three of us that actually physically witnessed it, between us, we've got over 75 years of rolling dice. We're both we're both Dungeons and Dragons role players. Okay, tabletop version with dice. Now, I've been around for a while. I've been playing Dungeons and Dragons for 45 years now. But this is the first time I've ever seen a six-sided die land on its edge and stop, unsupported in any fashion. Okay, and yes, I do have a picture of it. I'm going to post it tonight after I get done this video. Put my glasses down, forgot what I did with them. Now, my recommendation to you, and this is the same thing I'm doing for myself tonight. Okay, we are on January 1st. Take the time to write out 12 goals. 1, 2 goals. 12 goals to attain before the end of this year. Okay. Now, these can be tiny little goals, they can be huge goals. Okay. But put 12 down. Stop at 12. You've undoubtedly got a lot more to do than that. Okay. But by doing that, as the end of the year comes by, you'll be able to look at the year and say, I managed to hit these goals. Now, I was talking to somebody the other day, and they hit those goals, absolutely. They had put 10 together and they got 8 out of 10. Okay, which is fantastic. And this is where this list that I use comes in. Okay, you take a list, and this is a daily list that I put together. Okay, and you just write it out and you check them off as you go. Same thing in this case where it comes to the 12 goals. Now, I'm not going to worry about which order they come out in, but I am going to worry about whether they come out. And I'm not going to, one thing I'm not going to do, the one goal that is happening and I will attain, is to get my book and the sequel, the end of an epoch, into print, because it's already in the printer. I'll have it out within the week. Right? But a goal that I do have is to get that same book into Author House and thereby on Amazon. Now, somebody asked me this the other day about whether any of my books are in EBook format. The only one that is right now is The Birth of the Wolf Pack. The rest will be going on to e-format as soon as I can get them into Author House. But that takes a little bit of money, as I'm sure you're aware. Well, actually, you may not be. Find something you're enjoying doing. Find something that you do enjoy doing. Now, you do require an income in order to pay your bills and what have you. You absolutely have to. And the caution is that many people, what they do is they get to a certain point and they go, I don't like my job, so I'm going to walk away from it. Before you have a replacement income, this is a bad idea. Okay. Make sure if you're going to change careers, make absolutely certain that you have a replacement before you walk away from what you've got. Some people are reaching points where they're changing careers after decades in the same career. Okay. Now, I've been working for the same company for 20 years. Okay. One day that will come to a close. Hopefully, the idea is that I will have my books up and running and actually making money so that I don't have to worry about it again. But in the meantime, I'm still doing the best I can with the company I work with. Okay. So yeah, I have a company I work for a company, I have my own business, and I do intend for my writing to make my replacement income for me. That is where I'm standing because the reality is I work from home, and this is great for some people. But you gotta ask yourself, are you ready to be your own boss? Not everybody is cut out to be their own boss. So when we talk about the finances in your home, get your office work cleared out so that it works and so that the energy in your office is running smoothly. Turn around and start tracking where your money goes. Budgets only work if you have a definitive income. When you've got a contract that pays X number of dollars, you can absolutely take that X number of dollars and go, this is where that money is going. That works great, but when you're on an hourly wage, okay, that will fluctuate depending on your hours. Where giving yourself a budget, as in saying you have to spend, it's going to cost you X number of dollars. You can only ballpark at best. Tracking you can absolutely do. And that's the critical point of figuring out the quantifiable evidence that is required. Again, if you're striving to do something you don't know how to do, absolutely talk to somebody that does know how to do it. It was pointed out to me today that if you're getting somebody else to do work for you, make sure you know how to do it. so that you know whether or not you're getting ripped off, whether or not they're doing things for you in the best way possible. The thing you got to remember is when it comes to doing any sort of work, the best way to look at it is it requires man hours of work. It will take you 1 man hour to do 1 hour, one physical hour of work. If you have two people, if you've got an extra person helping you, that 1 hour of work gets divided by 2. You can do that same amount of work in a half an hour. So, when you take that and expand it to its ultimate level, if everybody works together, making this a better world for virtually everybody, we are not doing one person changing this world. Okay. So we are talking about changing this world using billions of people to help. Okay. And so, I mean, quite frankly, it's a big job. It's going to take time. It didn't take us a day and a half to get into this mess. It's certainly going to take longer to get out of it. But with your assistance, we can make it happen. Okay, and that's the journey I'm asking you to join me on. Now, again, if you like the video, give me a thumbs up, subscribe to the channel, okay, and don't forget to hit the alert button. At the bottom of this list, I'd love to hear, or at the bottom of this video, I would love to hear your comments in the comment section. If you've got a question in any field that you desire to ask me about, okay, then there are a list of ways of contacting me below this video. Reach out. I will do my best to get back to you. Okay. You'll also find a list of different books I've already got in print. Now, aside from The Birth of the Wolf Pack, every one of the books can only be attained by contacting me directly. Okay. They will eventually get into Author House, on Amazon, and what have you, but for the moment, this is where they are. Now, that said, we are reaching the half-hour mark, so I'm going to bring this to a close. I'm going to again wish you a very happy and prosperous 2020 and 2022. Until tomorrow, take care of yourselves and each other, and for pity's sake, stay positive.